Oh, hi everyone. Usually after our Forex webinars, I do a little write-up on what we were discussing in the webinar, but I thought I'd try a video today. I haven't done video for some time, so please do bear with me. And the reason I wanted to do the video, other than it's a lot quicker and we can capture sort of price action as I speak, I really wanted to focus on the pound yen because as I'm recording my screen, we've obviously had the BOE, we've had the interest rate decision, and I think Carney is actually speaking at this moment, which obviously explains some of the volatility that we can see in the British pound. But the pound yen is a pair that both David and I focus on quite a lot. And we like it for a number of reasons. First of all, it's obviously the yen. So as we come out of Asia and we come into Europe and London, if you're going to look at a yen pair, then it probably makes more sense to either look at the euro yen or the pound yen. And we've always found the pound yen, it can deliver a nice range on the day. There's a lot of lessons during our webinar on this particular pair, and I just want to have a look at this little bit of price action that we can see here. This is actually the 30-minute chart. We looked at the 1-minute chart in much more detail, but this is on a slower time frame. It sort of captures pretty much what we saw in the webinar. This initial weakness came here at this point, which is at the 157.42. This was at 7 o'clock our time, and we could already see, not only based on what we saw on the chart, but the CSI was also highlighting that we were likely to see a reversal in the pound yen. I had no idea how far that would go at that time, particularly as prior to this piece of price action, the pound yen had been rising quite nicely, because not so much because the pound had been rising, it was more a case of the yen selling, and the yen selling was because of the comments about the possibility of more easing from the Bank of Japan, and also the Nikkei had gone up overnight, although certainly not in hundreds of points. I think it had gone up 68. And what we were trying to explain in the webinar is that when you come to your trading computer and you come to a situation such as this, where there's been a nice move in a pair, as I said, it just happened to be the pound yen, what are you going to do? What are you going to look for? Is there the possibility that this move is going to carry on higher, or are we going to have a reversal? And whether there's going to be anything in that reversal, is it, what is the level of risk? Is it worth taking, or is it better simply to sit out and wait to see what happened? In fact, what actually happened was the reversal went from 157.42 all the way down to 56.67. That is almost 100 pips. So in this occasion, it was most definitely worth taking. But what is very interesting is in the move lower, in which probably a great number of traders would have been tempted to participate because it's a great move, and yen pairs are always quite very lively, to say the least. How do you know at what point that is going to stop? We have our CSI, we have our matrix, we have a number of other, we have a number of indicators. We look at volume, we look at price action. But the most interesting aspect of this candle is the fact that it also triggered the volatility, and we can see here by these little purple arrows. And what that means is that this 30-minute candle was outside of the average true range for the pound yen. So of itself, we would expect, as a reaction, once the candle had closed off, that the price would actually retreat to within the spread of the candle. And in fact, this is what it duly did. And in fact, the price then carried on higher. And the point at which we left the webinar, and it's easier if I show you on the daily chart. the daily chart, because in the move higher that we saw developing as the webinar went on, we were then approaching what was the high of the day. I can't quite remember, but it was almost at the level of yesterday's candle. And this brings into this brings another factor into whether you take a decision to trade a particular pair or a particular market, is when the price is already approaching that high. What do you do next? We can't always be at our desks sort of 24/7, no matter how much we would like to be. And what I said was, well, you have to wait and see if the high of the day is taken out. And my parting comment was, just remember what Jesse Livermore said: no price is ever too high to buy, and no price is ever too low to sell. So don't ever allow the fact that something is approaching a significant level, to dismiss the possibility that there could be a trade. In fact, the high has been taken out. But the fresh high, as I speak, is, let me see if we can bring it up on the candle. Here we are. The high is now 156.59. So we would have to, what is the likelihood of that high being taken out? Well, we just have to wait and see. What will determine, whether that is going to be taken is we have to see if the volume is going to continue to build in the remainder of this session. And of course, we've got New York, and then, before we close off at about 10 o'clock. This evening. But to return to the 30-minute chart that we were looking at earlier. So we had this nice move down. Price retreated to within the spread of the candle, which is a very typical reaction when you have volatility and you have the range of a candle which is outside of its average true range. And in fact, this was the springboard for the move higher. Then actually, this was after we'd ended, we had another volatility candle, and exactly the same thing happened again. We retreated back to within the spread of the candle. And I have a feeling this is when the high of the day was tested, if you like. In fact, it retreated, and subsequently it has now continued to move higher. We've had some weakness come in to this pair. We'll have a look at the CSI. Here we are. This is the yellow line, which is the British pound. Certainly on this time frame, there seems to be some room for some further upside move, whether it's against the Japanese yen, which is down here, which looks as though it's sort of wanting to curl up slightly. That we can't say. It looks as though possibly it is going to be at the expense of the euro. And this also, if you like, highlights what we also say on our webinars, and those of you who come along will have heard us say this many times before. We have to isolate where the flows are going into which currency, and then we look for the pair, because flows move in and out of currencies. They move in and out of different pairs, and then they rotate. They are constantly rotating. Market is constantly buying and selling that particular currency against a myriad of pairs. And what we have here with the matrix, this is actually on the 5 minutes. Let's keep it on the 5 minute here. And we can see here there's been a universal buying of the British pound against the New Zealand, the Canadian, the Aussie. This tells us that the commodity dollars are falling. This is the pound yen that we're looking. It's not the strongest of the pound pairs, and there's even strong buying against the Swiss franc. And in fact, it's just swap places there, the US dollar. And in fact, as I've been speaking, the euro pound has hopped off the bottom, and it's moving up. And that's simply reflecting what we've seen. This is on the 30-minute CSI, but if we go down to 5, we can actually see here already. So what we're seeing, we looked at the 30, the slower time frames. We could see that the euro was reaching a bottom on the faster time frames. We have already seen that reversal, and the reversal lower for the British pound. What I haven't mentioned so far is the Renko. David has given me a new name. He calls me what do you call me? The Renko Queen. I am the Renko Queen. And the reason for using Renko is it takes time out of the equation. So what we're looking at is pure price action. The way we use the Renko chart is always in conjunction with the time charts. We look at the candles, the candle patterns, but what we have, when we have it alongside, it not only does it highlight potential entry points, it is because it gives us very, very precise points based on support and resistance. But much more important than that, it helps us to stay in the trade because it takes out the noise that you inevitably get when you have candles. I mean, we need noise. The noise, these wicks to these candles are very, very important. But, you know, they're there for a reason. But when you're in a trade, you want to try and smooth things as much as possible so that you can build your confidence and be able to stay in the trade. Where next for the pound yen? Well, let's have a look. Let's go up to the, as I said, on the daily chart. You know, we've got a new high of the day. Is it going to be taken out? We really don't know. Going to the CSI, the currency strength, or really as it should be called, the currency flow indicator, because it highlights the flows in and out of currencies. If we go down to the 5 minute, the 15, wait that to update, and the 30, you know, the British pound is, you know, it is reaching a point where it possibly, we could start to see some selling. But do remember, currencies, markets, they can stay overextended for an awful lot longer than we can stay solvent. And you know, you only have to look, this is the purple line, we have the Canadian dollar. But the good thing, the marvelous thing about when markets do get overextended, we know they don't stay up there forever, and we can certainly use that as an opportunity to look for a high probability, low risk trade. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you've not come along before to the webinars, you can sign up for free on my site, www.annacooling.com, and the bonus that you get for signing up to the webinars is that you will also get access to the new members area on the site where all the recordings of the webinars are posted. The webinars are quite long, but what we've done is we've chopped them up into you know, more manageable bite-sized pieces, if you like. Some are 20 minutes long, some are 15. I don't think there's anything longer there than 30 minutes. And in total, there's almost 70 videos, all free, all on volume price analysis. Myself, my husband David, we talk through the charts, we talk about trading, and you know, for us it's a great opportunity to share with you our 40 plus years experience. I know the people who come along to the webinars have found them hugely useful. There'll always be something that you can take away, so we really look forward to you signing up to the series. The next live webinar is on Monday, and thereafter I'll be setting up some more in this particular series, probably a few days later, or certainly the week after. So as I said, I hope you've enjoyed this, and hope you can join us next time. Thank you, and have a great day's trading. Bye.